When I got divorced, I found out very quickly who got to stay in my life, and it was not who I expected in either direction. Two women who I respected enormously, who worked in women's healthcare with me, their literal job was to support and understand what women go through. They said some things to me about my divorce that I won't repeat exactly, but the substance was, "You're ruining your son's life. You haven't tried hard enough." They didn't ask me a single question about my situation, not one. And then my grandma, who is in her 80s, conservative, lives in rural Michigan. I didn't even know she had this in her. She showed up for me like a small, fierce woman on a mission to support me through it. Today, we're going to talk about the friendships and relationships that don't survive a divorce and what do you do with it? And why the rearrangement? As painful as it is, sometimes this rearrangement puts things in better places than they even were before. And the real truth is, not everybody gets to or deserves to read this chapter of your life. Welcome back to Breaking Upward. I'm Rachel Newhouse. Before we get into today's episode, nothing in this podcast is legal, financial, or therapeutic advice. I'm speaking from my own experience and research, not guidance for your specific situation. Please work with a licensed professional who knows your case. All right, let's get into it. What does the research tell us about your social network? There's sociologists who study divorce who have documented something that they call social network disruption. This is the rearrangement of close relationships that happens during and after a divorce. Studies consistently find that divorcing individuals experience significant social network changes, losing an average of 30 to 40% of their close social connections during the process. But most people who make it through the transition report that the relationships that they rebuilt afterward feel more authentic, more chosen, and genuinely supportive than the ones that they lost. Not larger, but realer. That doesn't make the losses hurt less in the moment. It just means that the rearrangement is not only loss. Some of what it puts in place is better than what was there before. So we should talk about the people who couldn't or can't show up for you when you're getting divorced. There are some real reasons people fall away. And I think we need to talk about them because I think it helps to think through the reasons rather than just being upset about it. So your divorce is going to make some people uncomfortable about their own marriage. This is real and it's frustrating and it's not about you. When you leave, some of the women around you who are also unhappy but not ready to deal with it yet, they can't be around you. You're a mirror that they are not prepared for. The discomfort is theirs. The loss is yours. But both things are true at the same time. Your couple friends, some of your closest friendships, if they were in couple friendships, these are probably going to change. When the couple ends, the friendship doesn't really know where to go. Some of these people feel forced to choose sides, or they feel guilty seeing you, or they simply don't know what to do with you now that the context of that friendship is gone. This doesn't mean that the friendship was fake. It just means that it had a specific structure and the structure has changed. They don't know what to say. A lot of people really simply, they aren't equipped to manage things they haven't gone through, and they're not equipped to give the kind of support that someone going through a transition like this actually needs. They might and probably will say the wrong things sometimes, and they might feel terrible about it. There was this one girl who she actually was a therapist, which made me laugh even more about this. She said to me, she was like, "How are you going to keep looking at your son when he looks so much like his father? Isn't it going to be hard for you to look at him now?" And I was like, oh boy, she probably like read some Freudian thing somewhere in therapy and was trying to be helpful, trying to identify something that might be challenged. But I was just like, meh, whatever. We're going to move on from that. I think she probably felt bad about saying it. It was awkward, but I don't hold it against her. A lot of times, rather than try again, people go quiet. Not because they don't care, because they really don't know what to do next. I really don't think she knew what to do next. There was also a friend of mine who I had known and trusted for years who said to me one day, "I just don't know how to handle this. It seems like everyone is just giving up these days." I thought a couple of things. Number one, well, that's interesting because I don't know how to handle it either. And number two, you know me better than to think I'm just giving up. I eventually forgave her mostly because I don't know how to handle this. That's usually true. It's not an excuse. It's just a limitation. And it was fine with me that she said that. But her statement about everyone leaving, implying that I didn't try,
that was actually a reflection on her own relationship and her own marriage, and I would learn that a few years later when her marriage dissolved. What she did and said wasn't unforgivable, but it was where she was in that moment, and she wasn't going to be a person that I read into the details of what was going on and who I looked to for comfort. She had a hard time showing up for me afterward, and we drifted apart because of it. So that was more innocent and just, her having her own thing. But there are also people who say cruel things to you, and that is hard. The two women that I mentioned in the opening, they're women who worked in women's healthcare. So if you don't know, I am a certified nurse midwife and a sexual assault nurse examiner by training. So by nature, I have a lot of people around me who work in women's healthcare. So they did too. They are people whose professional identities are built around supporting women, and they were both in strong positions of leadership too. They told me I was ruining my son's life. They told me I hadn't tried hard enough. They didn't know anything about my personal life when they said that, and they never even bothered asking. They knew me professionally. They knew my credentials. They knew my work ethic. Like, they knew stuff about me. And for whatever reason, in this situation, they just decided I get no benefit of the doubt. I get no questions, that there was going to be judgment, um, and that they were going to diminish me a little bit as a mom. For anyone who's had something similar like that said to them, don't let it get in your head. It's not true. And they don't have the right to say it at all, but definitely not as a professional colleague who knew nothing about my life. Also someone who preaches supporting women for a lifetime all day, every day. It's ironic. And you're going to have people who you would never expect say things like that to you, say some weird stuff to you. It's going to happen. Ironically, I took care of one of their daughters in the hospital one time, and I didn't hear anything stellar about her as a mother, but we'll leave that there and not get too salty about that. Sometimes the people who say the cruelest things in a divorce are the ones who are most invested in the idea that marriage is something that you simply have to endure, that you stay no matter what, that leaving is a failure, and those beliefs are theirs to carry, not yours. You are not obligated to carry them too. Let's move forward. That stuff is so hard, right? These negative people criticizing you, judging you with no real investment or curiosity about you or care for you. But there's these people who do show up. And interestingly, a lot of people who show up are also not who you would expect. And that can be a really beautiful thing. I don't want this episode to only be about loss. Some people who show up for you, you wouldn't have predicted them showing up in 1,000 years. For me, like I said, that was my grandma. It took her a couple of months to really come around, but then she loved on me hard, and she told me, you cannot be with him. You do not deserve any of that. She had asked me questions, listened to what I said, and then she made sure that my son and I always felt seen and loved by her. She shared stories with me about women she had known who'd never left abusive relationships and what their lives had looked like, having to stay in those marriages literally until death. And something in me just exhaled when she shared these stories with me, because someone who loved me finally said something to me coming from a place of compassion and understanding. My 4'11" grandma was in her 80s. Even today, in her 90s, that woman still mows her own lawn. During my divorce, she showed up like this small, fierce woman on a mission, and I did not know she had it in her until then. She became one of the most important people in my life during that time, and has stayed one of the most important people in my life. Her sharing with me, woman to woman, took our relationship from purely a grandmother-granddaughter place to an adult-woman friendship. When I was thinking through this episode, I was trying to think through one of my very best friends since I was in 5th grade, and how did she respond to my divorce and me telling her? And I honestly can't remember. I have no idea what she said, because there was nothing negative about it at all. It was just like business as usual. Yeah, we're doing this. It's just life kept going. All I know is that she never questioned me. She let me stay at her house. We can still laugh and call my ex names together when we're feeling childish. She has seen him with me in public. She's incredibly kind and cordial to him, which is what I want her to be. But I also know that if I wanted her to slash his tires for me, she'd do it in a heartbeat. and never tell a soul. And we all need a friend like that. You will have relationships go both ways, for better, for worse, and it's all okay. Just be careful with who you read into these chapters, who you let come in, who you let be a part of it, because it's really your choice too. The older I get, the more I understand most people are transitional in their lives and can only hold your hand through a small moment in life. But the ones who stay close through everything, your ride or dies, hold on to them for dear life. When it seems like a friendship's going to end, give it a little time before you decide it's over. Some friendships go quiet, some people just don't know what to do during the chaos, and they'll find their way back to you when the dust settles. The person who couldn't handle it in real time may show up once things stabilize. Don't force it. If a friendship is requiring enormous effort to maintain and it used to be easy, pay attention to that too. It might be time for that relationship to go dormant. It might be ending. Both are okay. Let yourself grieve it. Losing a friendship can be a real loss, and you don't have to minimize it, but make sure that you stay grateful for the ones that you do have. And it doesn't have to be dramatic like the divorce. These grief things with friendship, it counts. And when you're ready, you can look for new friends too. The people who find you on the other side of this, who know the version of you that exists now, are often the most real connections you'll ever have. Divorce is genuinely a personality revealer. Some people come out of nowhere and become everything, and some people that I thought would be my biggest supporters were nowhere to be found. The rearrangement, as hard as it is, shows you what's actually real. Your life is a series of books, and not everyone gets to read every chapter of every book. It's not a betrayal. It's just the shape of a life. Some people are wonderful for certain seasons, and some are simply not built for others. And the people who are still there when this chapter ends and you're moving on to the next, hold on to them. The book isn't over. It's not even the end of the series. You've just turned a page. In the next episode, we're going to talk about what happens when your ex won't follow the divorce agreement. Because a decree is a legally binding document, but it actually requires someone to comply with it. So we'll talk about what to do when they don't. If today's episode found the right person, please share it. I'm Rachel. This is Breaking Upward. I'll see you next week.
This is your reminder from me and Alice that Breaking Upward is not legal, financial, or therapeutic advice. Please seek out a professional for your specific situation.